So, welcome back everyone to our another great panel discussion. Can we attract investments for something like AI, bullshit bingo versus real opportunities? And for that, it's my pleasure to announce my fellow panelists. I'm super happy to still have Mindaugas Bružas, CEO and co-founder at Oxus.ai. Online connecting to us is Arvydas Bložė, investment director at Practica Capital. Arvydas, hello to you.
Hi, everyone.
Also, Kasparas Jurgelionis, managing partner at Iron Wolf Capital. Hello, Kasparas.
Hi.
And last but not least, Inga Langaitė, CEO at Unicorns.lt.
Hello.
Just for everyone to get to a bit more information about these brilliant people that are sitting on this panel, later we will try to count and combine all the capital that is sitting on the stage, okay? I'm joking. So, Arvydas Bložė is an investment director at Practica Capital. He focuses on investments, fundraising. He joined the team in 2014 as the CEO of Startup.lt, previously associate and associate partner at SEB, Pan Baltic Nordic Investment Bank, and its Lithuanian spin-off Suma Advisors in Lithuania. Kasparas has also over 16 years experience in industry, M&A, and asset management. Since 2012, he works as an independent investment professional with board memberships and advisory positions in leading Lithuanian companies and startups. And Inga Langaitė is the CEO of the startup association Unicorns LT, an active technology enthusiast, mentor. Inga has also been leading the social initiative Aukok.lt for a long time. Am I correct?
Yes.
And with Mindaugas, we already spoke before. So, dear panelists, once again, it's a pleasure to have you here. Thank you again for the participation in the AI Boost conference. We did have 2 full days of different keynote speeches on the various solutions of AI and what can AI empower and what are the fields that AI can bring solutions to. Moreover, how is this technology transforming our world as it is? What's your perspective on this? Is it only one more technology that will give us an advantage in some certain things, or is it something that will completely change the way we do things? Even today in our panels, we heard someone saying like, it's only a technology, so why are you looking at it as something specific? And then we do have the Black Mirror series that show like what power can be at this AI side. Inga, maybe we can start from you.
I do believe that this is new technology and new opportunities that businesses can empower to make solutions. Also, we have a lot of challenges that already were mentioned before. But I see some trend, we had those booms and buzzwords before, like .com, blockchain, and others.
Blockchain is still there, no? Or it has disappeared already?
Yeah. But as it was mentioned before as well, that with smart investors, you're going to be boosted very, very soon. If you are just using that word, as a marketing tool, not a solution for your business. So I don't believe that this is, way of fooling investors. Maybe for some not experienced ones. But for the smarter ones, it's impossible, I believe, to fool.
Okay. I believe we will get into that. Kasparas, what's your perspective towards the artificial intelligence as a technology? You wake up every morning, you look at your schedule, it's already written how long will it take for you to get to your office, for example, right? You do allow yourself to search for the tickets and allow the system to get the perfect match. Is it something groundbreaking in your world, or you're just thinking, well, it just does better solutions or better decisions?
Yeah, from the way you described it, almost like controls me already. So I wouldn't be excited about
Let's
that.
speak about your relationship to Siri in your phone.
Yeah. I have an on-off relationship with Siri at the ability to keep great relationship with my family at this day. But coming back to the to the idea of artificial intelligence. I personally am very excited about it. And maybe the simple answer why is the word intelligence in this context. In most cases, it's usually defined as the ability to make decisions, right? So whether you use artificial or the animal intelligence, it's all about making decisions. So right now we already have a number of, plenty of cases where artificial intelligence makes just as good decisions as humans. Maybe simple, but just as good. We see also cases where it starts to make maybe not too complicated, but simple but better decisions. And the question is, how long before it will start making decisions that humans are not able to make? And I'm talking about the data sets and things like that that are coming up, that are already there, and the computational ability of processing that data through the neural network. So I think, the excitement is what we haven't, as humans, what we haven't made as decision makers in this world, and what artificial intelligence will help us make, and how the world will look after that.
Arvidas, would you like to double up on something, or you have a bit different perspective towards, and you say like Inga mentioned, blockchain, all those other words, like, okay, in this decade it's super important, in next decade we'll find something more?
No, I'd like probably to double up on investor position, right? But we have to make a clear distinction. Artificial intelligence in itself is very hard concept to understand. And if you will, probably before artificial intelligence, which is, I think, the ultimate point of deep learning, let's say, right, or machine learning, we will have deep learning. And I think to talk about artificial intelligence, we have to talk more about deep learning, because AI is in many ways like misinterpreted, miscommunicated term that we are very far from, I believe. However, if you look at the, let's say, deep learning networks, deep learning algorithm, which is an AI revolution happening right now, we talk about interpreting or same level of interpreting as a human on text to speech or speech to text, right? And image classification, which, let's say, Oxus AI and what Mindaugas is talking about is already yielding some interesting perspectives or interesting products what you could develop and sell. So we have to understand it's happening right now, not the AI per se, but the deep learning, neural networks, the other technologies are happening right now. And what they do, they present a massive productivity gains in many sectors, right? So it's not by itself a product. It's a technology that can be applied on multiple data sets, in that sense of millions of data sets, right? Data points, terabytes of data to analyze, and differently from any other algorithm or any other, let's say, binary outcomes, it is still able to produce outsized returns and gains and interpretation, right? So no matter how much more data you feed on them, the processing time is slow. It's not, not slow in a bad term, but it's slower and getting faster and faster and faster compared to other. I did not make myself clear. Processing time giving a lot of data remains the same, right? So this is very important. And I think the productivity gains when you talk about deploying the algorithms by consensus on the market is in like 10, 15, 17 trillion of dollars in next 15 years, right? So we're talking about this technology able to distinguish top companies investing in this and applying the productivity gains versus other that do not innovate and will be outcompeted. And I think this is not a buzzword, so to say, to sum it up, right? This is a real technology that is already deployed nowadays, but it's not AI. I mean, we are far away from this.
Okay, yes, Kasper.
Can I just add?
Yeah.
It's an interesting parallel when you start talking about the definitions and what people think about AI right now. Just a parallel for thought. When writing started, like in the caves somewhere, it was called writing at some point, right? Now writing code is also called writing as a process. And those people that were there in the caves, they could not perceive what writing will be defined as thousands of years after. So I think it's, if you think about the perspective, it's actually even I think it's even difficult to put what artificial intelligence in 10, in 20 years time will be called, which parts of it, but certainly it will be moving, in similar process as with this parallel with writing.
Inga, you do represent an association of the most, let's say, strong and well-positioned startups of Lithuania, and hopefully very soon everyone else around us. Do also the founders speak about the technology as something that is a must-have and they should be investing, and maybe you have few cases to mention?
Of course, as it was mentioned, AI is technology, not a product itself. And it helps to boost your product or compile huge amounts of data. So yeah, we do have that members that use some parts of that, but also some are based on AI processing. So, for example, Eddy Travel, they kind of have a tool of AI travel assistant. They use natural language processing tool. So basically, it gathers a lot of data, personalizes information, and provides some specific offers for your customers. Of course, also Tesonaut Group uses different kinds of AI technologies. Oxylabs, they are providing like web scraping based on AI and machine learning, which acts as persons and avoids AP blockages, etc. CG Trader also uses some AI to investigate some complexity of object for 3D modeling, etc., etc. So basically, a different kind of businesses are using in some scale. Some are based on that. Some are using only for some functionalities, some parts of that. So I believe it will, be used more widely in the future as any other technology.
Mindaugas, would you like to add something on top? I just wanted to give the guys some warm-up,
So I would add like one angle that why this technology or this movement is gonna be one of the main in next decade. Actually, the breakthroughs in AI, machine learning, and deep learning are so fast that we have already so many great discoveries in science that it's enough probably for more 10, maybe 20 years for the rest of society to implement it to the real lives and businesses. And taking, for example, let's say 10 years ago, there were about 1,000 scientific papers regarding machine learning, right? So can you guess how much we have like last year? Like your guess?
Jesus Christ, it should be billions.
Okay, it's too much, but it's more than 30,000 a year. Like new scientific papers with the new breakthroughs in this field.
What if we order AI to write some scientific papers?
So, and
then we'll look
so it will be one step to the general AI, right? Okay. So when AI start to do the science, so that's it, right? Yeah. So I think there are like a lot of not applied possibilities from science. I mean, in data science, and the main problem is lack of experienced people and specialists who could do that. And we really facing ourselves with this problem. So I believe that there are like plenty capabilities to use in any sense. And as investment, also if you really invest in real AI companies, so it's a huge bet, but also a huge opportunity. As yeah, so.
Arvydas, I do believe that every day you get the emails popping up in your inbox with presentations in which you find the word AI. So what is the screening process you usually apply, and what are the frameworks that you apply, and how you distinguish bullshit bingo from, no, that's a real opportunity I see there?
Yeah, it's good question, but
yeah,
but
you can show all the cards now, or you can keep something to yourself. So it's for you to decide.
There are no cards to show. It's everything in your experience. Similar like neural network. During, let's say, 7 years, you just train yourself to identify something just by reading. However, if we take this question seriously, right? I think 2-3 years ago we saw a lot of like even taglines going AI doing this and that, right? Right now, I don't think it's the case, right? Everyone is, or at least the pipeline we receive, they are more pitching the product and service powered by neural networks, machine learning, or other technologies. We don't see that much AI buzzwords used anymore in later stage companies, right? In pre-seed stage companies, I think it's very relevant, because also most of the funds, if you look at the investment strategy, they focus on AI, right? It's clearly written. So it's kind of the semantics, how you call things, it doesn't matter, right? You just get this attention by using some of the words. Ultimately, when you look below the bullshit bingo, right? If you will. If you look kind of at the core of things, everything is the same like it was before. You look at the kind of market opportunity, product, pain points, and how you solve not only technological issue, but can you sell this and capture some value by doing this, right? So I think everything is kind of remains the same. And overall, the kind of speed of development of the ecosystem and competition and just abundance of very smart people going after this, right? And increasing number of success cases where, let's say, engineers or deeply engineering startups like PVKs or Oxus, right, are able to raise money and execute perfectly, right? So I think this is more important, and you can find whole pieces of gold in your mailbox, even reading these buzz lines, right? It's nothing changed.
Okay, Kasparas, I'm super interested. So how do you approach the same amount of, I believe, emails popping in, and what is the strategy you usually apply when screening?
So I first of all, I wouldn't use the term this bullshit bingo.
It's in order to get more viewers, to this late night show.
I think because I'm a deep believer in AI, that every single industry will be penetrated now
in one or another way,
at some point in the future. So the only question is whether the pitch deck represents the current status of the product in relation to AI. So I would separate, a couple of things. One is the current product, in order for the current product to succeed, you need to build specific artificial intelligence capabilities as a differentiator or as an innovator, or so basically, is it at the core of the product? If it is at the core, then of course you have to look at the whole picture, the team, the ability to collect the data that is necessary basically to build such products, whether it's readily available, whether you need to build some kind of new sensors to collect the data, and that is and basically utilize it at some point in the future. So it's always you could call it bullshit bingo, or you could say that the founder is very forward looking and he sees at some point in the future that AI will be a component. So most of the pitch decks now have some kind of component. Some are more honest to say that we're using it for, I don't know, KYC, fraud protection, things like that, but this is just a component of the product. the core value and the core differentiator of our approach is the business model or the way we do things, and then you look at the team and you think whether these are the capabilities that will match the opportunity that they are pitching to us, or whether you have a core product which has AI as an essence, and you have just a couple of business people coming out of corporate world saying we will build these things. So it has to match, and it has to be clear for us as investors where AI stands in order to succeed in the next couple of years.
Okay, so 2 years is enough to actually have some traction with the AI.
Again, it depends. I mean, you have opportunities like one of our star investments in Pixavia, which is, in general, we as a fund are very interested in this understanding of 3D space. You could call it this way, for many different reasons. So Pixavia is addressing the grocery retail space, where they try to use artificial intelligence and computer vision in particular to understand in real life what is happening in the space that they are looking at. So that is the core. I mean, it's not 2 years. You have to build the team right from the beginning, and you have to start showing traction. Obviously, if you were to pitch the product just at the beginning of the product, I would be forgiving the founders if some humans at the back of the store were helping AI to show performance. But this is normal. I mean, it's most of deep tech AI applications are initially human enabled.
Mindaugas, is there an easy way to evaluate the value that AI brings to the project?
Definitely.
I do understand that there should be a business model, in the project itself, but the value from the AI.
Yeah, so it's actually always solving the problem, and then looking the tools and technologies are necessary to to deliver this great experience to the customer, right? And if you are lacking some of functionality that could be solved by AI, right? So yes, then it's answer yes. If you just do something with AI, doesn't matter what kind of problem to solve. So no,
shit in, shit out.
So I would say more and more in the future, I mean, startups will be adding some part in their solutions. It's gonna be inevitable. Otherwise, you're gonna lose the competition, because a lot of simple AI solutions, the same frameworks that works pretty well. Open source, you can have them, use them in your solution, and it's more about the adoption and solving some particular problem. It's not about creating some super new algorithm that was never done before, right? As I mentioned, in data science, there are a lot of breakthroughs. The problem is adoption and applying to the real business cases. So I would say that will be the main focus in the future, and where investors should focus a lot, probably. Yeah.
Okay, Arvydas, now I would like to turn to you, looking at your own portfolio, or maybe missed opportunities that you still are angry on yourself. What are the very awesome cases that you'd like to mention, and you could specifically say what was super exciting for yourself as a person, and you say oh my God, just look at this, look at what they do?
Thank you. It's a great question. And look, I think we, in our current fund, the one that we're investing from, 30 mil fund, aimed at Baltic founders, out of 18 investments, we have 5 that have let's say neural network or machine learning subset of AI, right? As a core, or increasingly being a core component of their product, right? So we do have Oxipit, we do have EduTravels, Biomatter Designs, the same Pixavia, right? And we are looking at them very differently, right? And PVKs also increasingly so are having, right? So right now, when you look at them, they are all very exciting, right? But they could be categorized in probably two types of startups, right? One, that AI or neural network or machine learning is the core value or the core proposition of the product. So that would be more of a deeper tech. So Oxipit, let's say, right now doing AI based radiology image kind of classification and diagnosing from the X-ray of your chest, right? 72 pathologies. It's amazing tech getting rolled out to let's say the market, right? But first of all, it's a deep tech, and I agree with Kasparas. It takes some time to build it, right? It takes some time to train the algorithms. It takes some time, let's say, to get certification that actually they are scoring something that is meaningful, right? And it's not an easy task. Then let's say Biomatter Designs, which is AI-based protein library, and they products kind of help a lot big pharma and other contractors to kind of pre-screen or pre-score certain let's say protein formula against their libraries for certain properties, so that you don't go mass producing or testing before and knowing that's a failure, right? And spending time and multiple millions of euros before this. So we do have this, let's say, deep tech, and then we do have other part of range, which is take PVKs, right? They started building engineering product for solar utility grade solar parks, which is 1 megawatt and more. We rolled out with engineering product. Right now, we are getting access to huge data sets of what parks is generating, and now they can apply certain algorithms on top of data they collected, right? So what I want to stress is that I'm super excited about each and every investment that we did, right? 5 out of 18 are AI kind of driven companies. However, the ones that will do AI in 10 years might be all of them, right? PVK's, let's say, example shows that you can start, scale into a commercially valuable product, raise a lot of money, deploy your product a lot of kind of on top of many clients, many parks, gather the data and build a next generation product based on that, right? And based on productivity gains from the amounts of data you collect, and no one is able to kind of look at this before. So I'm super excited. I think most of the companies will use AI or let's say subset, which is machine learning, deep learning, neural networks, any other kind of scoring huge data sets. And I think on the missed ones, it's the question itself, like it's a good question, but it's not obvious, right? You see, you kind of can invest in super deep tech companies, but you have a lot of capital to make them work, right? You have been patient investor and so on, and you don't know one. But I think in the next 10 years will be companies that we missed that we did not know they were AI companies, right, to begin with. So that's, sorry for a long answer, but that's my take.
Thank you so much for that, Kasparas. I would love to hear what are you excited about in your portfolio, because I do know you have something to share with us.
So just a caveat, we are a young portfolio, so I'm still excited about every single investment that we have made.
Yeah, absolutely. But you don't have to focus on your portfolio solely, but maybe you just bumped into some amazing solutions that you would like to tell us about.
So first of all, about the portfolio. So I spoke a little bit about this 3D space understanding in real life, and we have just made one investment in Estonia, which I'm particularly very excited about. It's not public yet, but basically the idea at the moment is the product at the moment helps to understand the infrastructure, urban infrastructure and road infrastructure in terms of damages and things like that. The future that the founders see, especially coming with autonomous cars and things like that, is to build the real life digital twin of our ecosystem, our urban ecosystem. And I think these kind of ideas, if you think about like the young generation, I have a lot of children, they're all excited about gaming and building metaverses and things like that. If you can build the real metaverse in real life, these kind of things I think are something that excites me in the portfolio. And we have other things. Another company in our portfolio, Sprana, which is an industrial play, is basically now sold its spectroscopy solutions to 3 out of top 5 chemical companies in the world, companies like Koch Industries, where those factories are of national security importance because they can blow up, they can do a lot of things. And our technologies, Lithuanian technologies, are at the core, the eyes of the processes there. So very exciting about all these things. About the things where I look forward to understand is how creativity can be advanced with artificial intelligence. And we see now a couple of cases where different modes are being combined. Everyone knows about the avocado chair, I think, things like that. We have a couple of edtech companies, Turing College, the first Lithuanian Y Combinator alumni. We have Solfeggio that teaches music, and I think artificial intelligence there to improve the learning processes and the creativity there is something that I look forward to see in the future.
Okay, thank you so much for that. And we are fastly evolving going to the end of our discussion. And for everyone that is watching us, and especially for the founders that are looking at us today, so can we just wrap it up in a nutshell and explain? So what are the things that you should never do when you approach the investors in your fundraising, right? What are the key mistakes that will lower your chances of fundraising or closing the deal? And maybe even one or two cases that like, well, if they wouldn't do that, we would do that, Inga, what would be your advice to those founders that maybe they are like Kasper said, they have a very big vision, and it's absolutely okay with that. But at this point, if you're fundraising, so what should not be done?
I don't think you should use that fake it till you make it approach, considering that complex technology as AR or machine learning and others. And as it was said, you have to be clear what you're going to do and what problems or challenges you're going to solve with that AI or machine learning. It's not the product itself. You shouldn't place it like that, prioritize it like product itself. But you should show how you are solving challenges and how do you provide a new experience for your user. Also, I would say that people are important, and you should show your capabilities, of your team.
Show that you have a human capital needed, essential for the project to actually happen, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Kasparas, what would be your few cents?
I think, the most important thing is to be, if you pitch to VCs, you have to be visionary. You can't come and say, look, I will solve this simple problem with a market of X million in Lithuania and expect to raise capital. We are not in the business where we look for 3x or 5x. We look for the winner that will be a globally competitive leading company. So whatever stage you come at, whether it's pre-seed or seed, which is our bread and butter, you have to show us this vision. And often we have in ourselves, in our team, in our investment committee, actually, we have AI specialist, Viktoras, who I think you have spoken
He was presenting
yesterday,
yes.
So we are quite confident to at least be in line with the discussion on AI and not afraid to be bullshitted about it. So I think big vision and understanding where we can go together is the most important thing for us.
Amazing, thank you for that. Mindaugas.
Yeah, so maybe from experience as well,
From
right?
both sides, yeah.
From another side. So probably first of all, I would say you should build relationships with the investors pretty in advance before you're planning to raise money. It's super important. And another thing is really to have very clear criteria what kind of investor you're looking for. And especially choosing, in very early stage when you don't have enough traction, but let's say you do the technology company, right? Like Oxus AI is the case. It's pretty hard to convince and have the, figures and show the traction that most of VCs are looking for, right? When it's much easier to make the decision. And then it comes, really like a sales and number game, right? So you need to do like a lot of calls, lot of interactions with the investors to find those who would say yes, they understand the business model, understand the problem, and they support you in like the short term and long term. So just for example, in our case, in order to raise this money, what we have, so I approach maybe more than 300 people. I have more than, investors, angels, and VCs. I have more than 80 kind of introductory calls or demo calls. Yeah, and we have more than right now 20 investors in our cap table. Yeah, so that would be few of tips from my side.
Thank you so much for that. And Arvydas, what are the red flags from your own perspective? What shouldn't be done by the founders in order to grab your attention and close a deal next month with you?
There are no things that shouldn't be done at all, right? It's a game where it's founder driven, right? So if it's better you come and be yourself, right? When we discover who you are 1 year later, if you want to express yourself in a meeting in ways that are not conventional, it's also good, right? You would be surprised as investor. You would probably make some judgments, but the reality is that we, or venture capital or investors, or we, like as Praktika or anyone else, exists because there are people with ideas, right? And you cannot kill ideas, and ideas are executed by the founders, right? You cannot really change that direction. You can help a founder to evolve, can help in many other ways, right? But it's very hard that not hard, but very uncommon that the person somehow changes the personality in 2 or 3 years. 10, 20 years might be, right? So it's ultimately, as a founder, when you come to VC, you have to know why, right? So first of all, find the reason why you're coming here, right? It's super important. What VCs want, just Google it. It's so many things like market and, oh my God, yeah, big market. Oh yes, very big market, right? We need like a category leader, amazing, right? But no one knows what it is, even VCs, right? So everyone builds their own conviction about what you are presenting to them. Should it be idea, vision? If you have data, that's going to be very important, right? So I would say there's nothing what you shouldn't do. You should be yourself. You should present the way how you think at things, not what you read on the internet or how you kind of brainstorm on the spot to be super using a lot of buzzwords and so on. Just be yourself, down to earth, explain core things about your business or core things about your assumptions towards what you want to build, right? And then you find a good partner, because you're not looking for money, or not necessarily. If you're looking for money, right, that's a different angle. But if you're looking for a partner to grow your business, you should be very much aligned. And VCs are not like, let's say, just investing money, right? We're putting alignment with the founder in ways to grow the company, also adding our network and other things, right, to the table, right? And helping founders to make a bit of headspace, if you will, right, to think about strategy, not only like code or do things. So there's this mutual exchange of let's say what we saw accumulate for our experience and where the founder is going. So be yourself, come in knowing what you want, looking at this yes partner, tell exactly what you want to do without any buzzwords, and everything will be okay, right? And I haven't seen, I think I will still yet to see the most crazy things in the founder's pitch, right? Looking forward to this.
Okay, and to wrap everything up, one industry where you are actually waiting for the disruption to happen and you're super excited, maybe it's already happening. What's the industry you're looking at?
Medicine like healthcare, personalized healthcare.
Absolutely. Thank you. Mindaugas, what's your take on this?
So I think interaction with customers, so sales and customer support, and definitely health, but it will be not this decade, let's say a little bit more for like great breakthroughs. Yeah.
Kaspras, where you want to see disruption, the biggest disruption made by the AI, what is the industry?
Well, I want to be able to build AI with my personal quantum computer. and then I'll answer you which industry.
Then solve all the issues in all the industries, right?
At home as well,
Okay.
preferably.
Understood? And Inga, let's close it up.
Next to medical industry, I would add well-being industry as well. Yeah.
Health. Okay. So, thank you for that. Thank you, dear panelists. Thank you,
you.
Arvidas. Thank you, Inga. Thank you, Kaspras. Thank you, Mindaugas. Thank you for your ideas, your answers, your inspiration. And thank you, dear viewers, that you're still with us. And stay tuned for 2 more speeches.